Wine number 4 is something special, the Stocks Vineyard. 7 acres of what is 110 years old, and they, before Scott bought the winery, the vineyard had a contract to supply the grains. Grain sells for 250 pounds a bottle, so you're getting something really special. One of Australia's top wines.
Thank you. Yeah, single vineyard wine, only 7 acres, and the vines are 150 years old, and we only get about 3 bottles per vine of finished wine, which sounds like a ridiculously small volume, but we get a real concentration of flavour and a richness and depth, lots of layers. And I go through the vineyard myself and make sure that each vine is comfortable with the fruit load that it has, and trim off some of the bunches so that there's a balance between the leaves and the grapes, so that there's enough leaves to ripen every bunch of grapes, and also there's only about 2 leaves between the sun and the bunches, so that there's a bit of exposure to the elements to get some toughening of the skins and some flavour, and not too much exposure that they would be sunburnt and not too shaded, otherwise they'd be flavourless and no colour. And a lot of care and attention goes through all the way to the bottling. And not every barrel makes the grade. Even though we spend a lot of money on the best barrels, Ben and I do the tastings and barrel selection work, being Gladesman and I. And after about 200 or 300 barrels in the morning, we tend to go to lunch and not do too much else in the afternoon. But it's very satisfying to see that this is a real example of terroir. It's an expression of this particular vineyard, and we've tried on the tasting bench to blend it with different things, but it just doesn't it just loses its personality, that individual vineyard character that comes through year in, year out, and it's just great to see it continue along. We don't do it every year because some years we're at the mercy of the gods, and some years aren't perfect. So we only release it if it's really good. It takes a long time to build up a reputation, and if we do release an inferior one,
there was a few Russians that visited the winery, Russian journalists, and they were looking for the best Australian Shiraz. Do you want to tell the story?
Yeah, they did a random sampling of, well, not so random, they got one of the best wine writers in the country to do give them a range of 9 or 10 wines. The Stocks 2006, this wine was amongst them. And this is the one that they chose as being the best out of all of the Shirazes in Australia. And they came and did an interview with me, and we had 500 people in the winery that day because we've got a restaurant there. We had a festival on, but we found time to sit down and drink a few bottles, as we did. We've always got time to do that. But yeah, again, very pleasing to see the wine being recognised all around the world. But it's only a very small production, so the price is a bit higher because of the attention to detail and the demand and the limited production.